Well, it's the evening of July 13th, and you might be wondering why I came down out of the mountains. Well, I came down to upload today, and I didn't go back yet. Waiting on this Trayvon Martin thing and the Zimmerman case, of course, to get finalized. I kind of figured it would be today. And I just wanted to bring up a point, actually a couple on this. You know, again, not so much in self-defense, but to show you that even the mainstream media can't be right all the time. You know, there are a lot of folks out there that are saying, "Oh, you know, your predictions don't come true," and they're not predictions. They're methods of planning for catastrophes, for difficulties, for obvious things that the government is planning on doing to us. And just because the timetable isn't quite right doesn't mean that it isn't going to happen. Case in point, the Trayvon situation, Trayvon Martin and the Zimmerman case. You know, David Rockefeller in a paper quite some time ago wrote down that they would make things happen that are so bad in this country, including civil disturbances and catastrophes of various types, that the American people would welcome, indeed beg, for the intervention of the military, both our own and international troops here on American soil. And everybody will say, well, gee, he made that prediction, what, 20 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, and it still hasn't happened. Does that make what he said not true, or that it isn't going to happen eventually? No, of course not. Now, we've heard a lot going on about this case of Trayvon Martin's, the shooting by Zimmerman on him, and you know, everybody from the Black Panthers, you know, and I think that's probably not the entire group, but probably a break off of them, but regardless, to other various groups saying that they're going to riot, you know, kill people and all that. And it's interesting, of course, that Zimmerman is actually Hispanic instead of white, but that doesn't matter, you know. It's the idea of being able to stir up fear. And the media is latching on to that, of course. That's all we've heard about is the Zimmerman case, like they're trying to fuel the fire. Well, all you guys out there that say that people like me are fueling the fire, are you going to complain about the media doing this? All right, when you know what their agenda is to cause something like this, where somebody like me or C. Green or Ben Swan or James Corbett, etc., are out there trying to wake people up so we can prevent these types of things, there is a big difference. Now, I'm not really here to defend myself, as much as I am to show the dichotomies and the hypocrisy on both sides of this thing. But at any rate, so David Rockefeller said that they would exploit these things and cause these things to get bad so that the American people would welcome, even beg, military intervention by U.S. and also foreign forces. Are we on the verge of that? Well, you know, it's like I've said all along. You know, they want a race war. That's one of the things they want. They want a number of natural and man-made catastrophes. But those things are managed, you know, for whatever purposes that they have. And so I suspect that this may have already been way blown out of proportion about what people are going to do, even though there's been a lot of Twitter activity. Am I going to be wrong? I hope not. I hope that people understand that this was a court, you know, a jury of 6 women who looked at the circumstances and decided that this was self-defense and that it was not intended to be a murder. That's what I would hope that everybody understands. But there are those, especially in our government, who would like to fan the flames of this and use it for their purposes. So we'll see. Just remember what David Rockefeller said. And also, you know, Rahm Emanuel, never let a good crisis go to waste. You know, use it to take the rights of the people and to get more control. And with the end result, of course, being we have a lot of international troops here right now, like I've said. I really don't know what's in the plans, you know, as far as how they'll bring it about. You know, we talked about the closing down of Coast Guard District 7 and the possibility that they were doing something on the continental shelf. And by the way, I've got more information on that from a scientist on the East Coast that I was telling you about. That hasn't happened yet. The problem with the big FEMA drill around the Boy Scout Jamboree, with nothing there has happened yet. Is the Trayvon Martin Zimmerman situation going to blow out of proportion? It hasn't yet, but of course it's early. It's just the evening after the ruling came back, after the jury decided to acquit him. So who knows? Maybe tomorrow we'll see. By the time you hear this, things will be getting bad. No matter what, all that I say always stands the same. You need to be prepared. Water, food, ammunition to protect your family and your friends, if nothing else. Lots of things, okay? Be prepared. Get as prepared as you can. You don't want to be caught unprepared. There's, like I quoted before, it's better prepared to be prepared 40 years too early than one day too late. So hopefully that'll not be a problem for us, but we just don't know at this point. Well, I'm kind of rambling on now. I wanted to bring up something else on this Agenda 21. I had another piece of information come in from another scientist on the East Coast. I'm going to be kind of veiled here because it's to protect the source. But he saw that video about my USDA census form, and we've had some people say, well, you don't have to fill that out. Yeah, I know, it's color of law and all that, but he goes into something more important about the local cities and towns for sustainability, and I forget the exact name. It's ICLIE or something like that. I'll get a better briefing on this after I look it over a little bit more. But basically, it's a mid-Atlantic city that is now going to be the model for instituting basically this urban control, and of course the shutdown of the rural areas. This is for real. This is really going on, and it's a part of the Agenda 21 process under the sustainability claims. So whenever you see sustainability, it's talking about Agenda 21, and this is going to be pretty serious stuff if it keeps going. So I'll have more on that again a little later when I get a chance to digest a little bit of what I've received. But if we are now, going back to the Zimmerman case, if we are now on the verge of a race war, I would hope that people don't go there, that they appreciate the fact that this was a jury that made this decision. The judge, the government tried to sway the judge to turn it into a manslaughter or some other things as well, outside of the original filings, but that the jury didn't go for it. So are we going to allow a jury to do this, or are they going to be trumped by the masses? Well, as I've said, in America right now, I guess it's a 50-50 chance. The masses have been dumbed down. The people are stupid. I'm just going to say it, okay? Their football games and their beer and their, again, I like those things too, but not at the expense of maintaining our liberties. And you got Janet Napolitano stepping down because she's been responsible for one of the greatest debacles in the history of the federal government. Of course, the IRS is another thing, and the Department of Justice, and we could just go on and on. The NSA, but she's made a wreck of things, and now she's going to go Poor University there in California. I don't think they want her either, really. At least the people there. It's interesting what's happening. This system is falling apart at the seams. They have been so wicked and so bad and caused so much strife and stress that now it's affecting even the powers that be. Remember what I said, the pit you guys dig for others, you will fall on yourselves. The tragedy is a lot of innocent people are going to be hurt in the process, and that is what I've been trying to avoid. I'll see you again a little bit later. By the time you see this, it'll be July 14th.